start. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this celebration of UKERC at 20. I'm Nicola Beaumont. It's really nice to meet you. I'm a co-director for UKERC and have been for the last 5 years. I'm standing in today for Rob Gross because he sadly can't be with us due to a family bereavement. So when I was asked to do this talk today about UKERC reaching 20, I had a little think about, well, where did it even come from? It's 20 years ago. I'm 48, so I was 28 then. And I was like, what was happening all that time ago that made UKERC come about? And where it came from was actually the Chief Scientific Advisor's Energy Research Review Group back in 2002. And at this time, it was noted that what we needed was a centre that brought together government, academia and industry to network, to do excellent research, and to really maximise a return from that research. So do research that actually had some impact. And actually, that's exactly what UKERC has been doing and continues to do today. This is the vision that we have in UKERC for, to be this centre of excellence. And I think, as you'll hear as we move through the day, we've really achieved this, I feel. We provided trusted evidence, but we've also provided information that's been useful and communicated it out to the wider community. So we're having impact and making a difference. I had a little think about what is special about UKERC, what makes it unique, and a few things came to mind. The first thing is how interdisciplinary it is. Now, I'm talking about being interdisciplinary in terms of actual disciplines. So we've got engineers, we've got ecologists, we've got psychologists, we've got geographers. I could go on and on with the list of disciplines we have. We're also really mixed in terms of the sectors that we cover. So we've got people working on transport, we've got people on environment, we've got people energy modelling. Again, I could go on, and you will hear more about this through the day. And I've shared this diagram here. A few of you might remember this. I really like this diagram because it's fundamentally really messy. And what happened 5 years ago when we were sort of trying to work out what to do for UKERC 4 is we tried to draft all the different pieces of the puzzle and put them in one figure. And we just, because everything is so connected, everything is so linked into everything else, we ended up with this, and there's like little squares and little boxes and circles and rings and arrows. And actually, this diagram's brilliant because it does show the reality of what we do. We really are this linked. However, we were redesigned into this much prettier figure, which you can see here, that shows the different themes and the different activities. But I like to show that first one because I feel like it's a little bit more realistic about just how interdisciplinary we are. Secondly, I think we've made leaps and bounds this year, in the last 5 years, particularly with regard to equity, diversity and inclusion. The energy field is a tricky one in terms of EDI, and we've still got an awfully long way to go. But there's been the Whole Systems Network Fund. We've had inclusive writing workshops. We've got EDI specialist representatives and champions. And I can see a difference. And I'm really proud of what we've achieved in this in the last 5 years, particularly. Career development and capacity building. Now, if I think about myself, I first came into UKERC as a postdoc 15 years ago. And through the time that I've been in UKERC, I've moved from being that postdoc to now being a co-director. And outside of UKERC as well, I lead my own research group. And UKERC has definitely played a part in my growth through those years. And I know I'm not alone in that. I can look around the room and I can see lots of other people who've had really positive encouragement with regard to their career through UKERC. And it's enormously collaborative, both internally, like the diagram shows, but also externally. It's not a group of people that are closed in. It's always looking outwards and bringing in other people, linking into other agendas, other programs, other institutes. So very, very open in that regard. It's flexible. And the Flexible Fund in particular has been an exciting aspect of UKERC for a long time. And this means that when new issues come up or there's new problems to tackle, we can fund research, be light-footed, and tackle really the issues of the day. And I think one of the things that's really made a difference, slightly, is the longevity. We can't get away from that. This is really unusual to have a centre that's funded for 20 years. Most often, research councils will fund 5 years, 10 years if you're lucky, 15 is a rarity, 20 is pretty much unheard of. And I think that is largely because UKERC has been doing such an excellent job, because it's remained open, changeable, flexible. And it is what has enabled us, I think, to really achieve all these other things and be so successful over the time. The final thing I think that makes it unique is obviously the people. Over the years, we've had more than 500 team members. Like I say, we're not a closed group by any means. People have come and gone over the time, and they're spread across institutions in the UK. And really, I think it's fair to say that our success is due to the people. So a massive thank you to everybody here in the room today and everybody that's been involved in UKERC over the years. And one person in particular, I just think it's really important to note, I really feel for Rob. It's really hard that he can't be here today. Rob's led us through the last 5 years as director. He's been involved since phase 1 of UKERC. So Rob's always been around, but the last 5 years he's taken the leadership, and he's always just a joy to work with. And I think it's really important to note his leadership both over the last 5 years, but also putting the next phase together as well. So just wanted to really recognise that. Now I've got something, hopefully this will work, some comments from Jim Ski. So I'll press play, let's see.
Good morning and welcome to UKERC's 20th anniversary conference. I'm Jim Ski, I'm chair of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, and I was UKERC's first research director. And can I just say, believe me, my period as research director of UKERC was excellent training for being a chair of IPCC. So welcome to everyone, and I hope you have a productive conference. And I have to think from that era in the early 2000s, it's one of the things that I'm really proud of, because at that time it was very unusual for any research council investment to get more than 2 5-year cycles. And I do think it's a major achievement that the UK Energy Research Centre is still around after 4 cycles, ready to celebrate its 20th anniversary. Well, UKERC was formed about 2004, and it was just after a period where UK investment in energy research had fallen to an all-time low, both historically and in comparison with other countries. So following a white paper on energy, there was indeed a recommendation that the UK should have an energy research centre that had a whole systems character that should combine perspectives on economic issues, environmental issues and social issues all in one framework. During the first phase of UKERC, we worked together, the entire centre worked together on a joint project called Energy 2050, where we tried to envisage how the UK could meet its then target of reducing carbon dioxide emissions by 60% by 2050, at the same time as addressing issues around affordability and energy security. And we put together a comprehensive set of scenarios that were supported by detailed analysis of the different dimensions of the scenarios that I think was quite influential in demonstrating just how that it was easy to have radical reductions in emissions without compromising on other objectives. And for me, the highlight came in the middle of the second phase when the UK was thinking about electricity market reform and reforming electricity markets in ways that would allow renewable energy and low carbon sources to come onto the system. And at that point, I think we had a really big influence. We were having regular meetings with the Energy Minister. We were convening meetings with stakeholders and feeding it into the Department of Energy and Climate Change as it was at the time. That, I think, was a point where we really saw that we'd had an influence and we'd made a difference. Well, UKERC having reached 20 years for me is absolutely amazing. There are not many research council investments that last long, so big congratulations to everyone who has kept us going.
So the agenda, hopefully you've all got this. We're ready to get started on the day now. And the first panel is looking back, energy policy and UKERC through the years. And Joan is chairing. Marvellous. I'll hand over to you. Thank you all.